You guys know I love podcasting and listening to podcasts, and I'm guessing if you're listening to this that you love podcasts too. Have you ever considered podcasting yourself? It is a great way to reach your audience, grow your know, like and trust factor, and not need to show your face unless you want to. If it is something you've thought about but you don't know where to start, then head over to becomeapodcaster.uk/BAP quiz, BAP quiz, to access a 2-minute quiz that will help you work out what type of podcast might suit you. That's becomeapodcaster.uk/BAP quiz. You're listening to the Mindset and Action podcast, bringing you the map to grow and streamline your business in 2023. I'm your host, Donna Eade, your go-to gal for all things podcasting, planning and productivity. And I'll be bringing you all that plus mindset goodness from experts with knowledge to share. Let's make 2023 the year of success in your business. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. This is another bonus episode. I've been doing a few of these lately and seeing how they're going down with you guys, and they seem to be going down well. So let's continue. This is going to be a short episode, and that is because we are talking about AI, and I'm particularly going to talk about how I use it in my business. So it's not going to be a long episode. It's not going to be an episode that's going to teach you how to use AI, but it is an episode that I think is important because AI is top of mind for a lot of people right now, and different businesses are using it for themselves, but also showing other people how they can use it for their business. And for me, I think that AI is something that is always going to be here. It's something that we're going to have to get used to. And I think it can actually save us a lot of time. Now, what I don't think it can do is replace a human being. We have all been fed up to the back teeth. Can I get an amen? Listening to those press 1 for such and such, press 2 for such and such, press 3, and then you press the button you need and you still don't get through to a human. That annoys the heck out of me, and it always will. I am sure I'm not alone in that. Give me an amen if you agree. And therefore, I am not exactly thrilled about AI as a rule. However, I am certainly somebody who is here to let it help you make things quicker, simpler and easier, especially if you are working in business by yourself. If it's just you, then you are having to do all the things, and anything that you can automate is going to make your life easier and is going to get you to your goals quicker. So for me, automation and the use of AI is really, really important in my business. I do not use it to talk to people on the phone. I don't think that's ever going to be something that I do. I really enjoy talking to people and having that one-to-one connection with them, and I don't want to lose that in my business. Now, don't hold me to that down the line. Who knows what's going to happen, but I don't feel like I'm ever going to lose that personal touch within my business. However, there are certain things that I do get AI to do to help me to run my business in a smoother, more productive way. So I'm going to go over just 3 of the areas that I use AI in, just to give you an idea of how you might want to use it in your business. And just remember that at the core of this, nobody can replace you. You have thoughts, feelings, there are nuances to being a human that a robot just cannot replicate. So it is always going to be a human that is going to program the AI to get anything out of it that is remotely good. So let's jump into these AI usages for my business. So the first one is I use AI to help me with my podcast scripting. Now, that might surprise you, and I haven't used it for this one because this one is a personal one to me, so I don't actually need to use it as a script. I've literally got my 3 bullet points of the 3 things I want to cover, and I am off the cuff with the rest of it. However, when I am talking about strategies, or when I am talking about different topics that are not necessarily personal to me, but are things that I do or things that I've seen or questions that I've seen asked. Then I will jump into AI, go over to ChatGPT, that's what I use, and say, do me a podcast outline on X. And it will produce an outline for me. And it's only an outline. It's not a word for word script. I could never read a word for word script, I swear to God. It would just sound so robotic. I would sound like ChatGPT. But I do get it to do me an outline. And when it does the outline, it gives me an introduction. And then it tells me things that I could talk about. And it also says at the bottom, you can change this. Now, if I was to read exactly what ChatGPT wrote, then it would be over very quickly and it would be lacking in examples. And that is what I add in. I add examples from my own business. I add examples from people that I know, and I add in that richness to it so that it actually sounds like something that I would say. I don't sort of sit there and let it do my scripts and then just read the scripts verbatim, because they don't necessarily sound like me and they don't give that richness, that information that you need. But what it does do is prompt me with ideas. So if I'm stuck on a specific idea and I'm like, I'd really like to talk about 3 things, because I'm a fan of 3 or 5 or 7. I like those kind of numbers, but I'm not sure what I could talk about in there. If I ask ChatGPT to do me a script, then it will populate with ideas, and it's ideas rather than a full script. So it's like, oh, you could talk about X, you could talk about Y. And I go, oh gosh, yeah, I could use that. I could talk about X, Y, and Z within that. And I could talk about this. And so it actually is an idea generator for me in that respect. So it just gets me over if I'm sort of, writer's block. It's a real thing. So if you sort of sit there and look at a blank page and you just like, I have no idea what to write right now. I've got a topic, but my mind's just gone blank. ChatGPT just gives you those initial ideas so that you can start. So I use it for podcast scripting. Like I said, it's just points, it's not the full script, but I have found that so useful. The other thing that I've used it for is to produce emails, email text. So for me, I am not great at copy. Or I don't think I am. And I don't like to say it often because whatever you put out there is what comes back. So I try not to say that. But at the end of the day, if that's what you're thinking, it's in your subconscious. So that's something that I have to work on. However, because I don't think I'm great at copy, I find that ChatGPT is really good at doing emails for me. So I will say I want to write an email on XYZ. I want it to be witty. I want it to be around 300 words. I want it to include emojis. And ChatGPT will do it. Now, I don't tend to use this for my weekly email because my weekly email is about promoting my podcast episode and sharing that with you guys. So it would just, there's no point. There's nothing there for it to require. But in my funnels, when I've got like a webinar funnel or a sales funnel or a class funnel or something like that, then there is a possibility that ChatGPT might be better at creating the email flow for that than I would be. So I can go in there and say, okay, so somebody's taken a class and this email is to encourage them to go and look at my sales page or something like that. You could just play around with it, but I play around with those ideas and I use it for that purpose. I also use it more so for titles. I really like using it for titles because I don't feel like I'm very good at that hook, getting that hook from a title. So in my software that I use, FEA Create, which is linked in all the show notes in the bottom there, I am an affiliate for FEA Create, which means that if you decide to sign up, then I get a commission off that if you use my link. So just wanted to be clear with that. But I use it every day. I absolutely love it. And they have an AI feature within there that you can give it a little description of what your email's about, and it will give you titles for your email. So that is what I use it more for than writing the full email itself. But if I'm doing a funnel, I might use it to write the emails as well. But I love it for coming up with catchy titles. The last thing that I use it for, and I don't know whether this is only these 3 things that I use it for. I'll have to have a think, but these were the first 3 that came to my mind, and that is my podcast collateral. So I use Buzzsprout for my podcast, which many of you already know, and they have introduced a new feature recently called Co-host AI, and it is absolutely bloody fantastic. If you have seen an improvement in my show notes recently, that is why, because I don't have time to sit there and write concise show notes. I certainly don't have time to sit there and write a transcript for my podcast, and this co-host AI does it for me. Is it 100% accurate? No. But do I care? Not really. So I will read through the show notes section that it creates for me, and I will make any adjustments that I feel necessary to make it authentic to the episode, because sometimes it gets some ideas and it pulls what I've said and it comes up with a different thing, and I'm like, that's not what I said. So I will change that so that the show notes make sense for the episode that it's attached to. The transcripts, however, are there to help people who are possibly hard of hearing, but also to help with SEO. So for me, I leave them as is. I am not going to go through a 40-minute episode checking that every single word is correct. I feel like it does a good enough job that you get the gist of the episode and you'll get the main points from the transcript it creates. And I expect that it will improve over time. The other thing that it does for me is produce title options. So it will produce up to 5 title options for me to choose from for my episode, which are all so much better than anything I could ever come up with. And it also produces a blog post and social media posts, as well as chapters for the episode. So it is really comprehensive. It does a lot of the text-based work, and text is where I fall down, guys. I am so slow at typing. I am so slow at thinking and typing, and I have genuinely believed that keyboard dyslexia is a thing, because every time I write on the keyboard, the number of times that I get letters mixed up is unbelievable. I wrote the word chance earlier in an email and I spelt it CHACNE. That's not right. And I do it all the time, mix up the letters within words because my head's thinking quicker than my fingers, or vice versa, I don't know. But if I was to write it down by hand, I wouldn't have any issue with it. So it is solely for the keyboard, and these AI bots help me to avoid, making silly spelling mistakes left, right, and centre. So that is the other way that I use it. So I really enjoy using AI to help me with these things. And one of the other things that ChatGPT and these AI things can help you with is help you come up with your course content. So you may have heard me recently talking about my teacher and mentor, Amy Porterfield. She is absolutely fantastic in the world of list building and course creation. And she has recently released a new resource all about how you can get AI to help you with your course content. Now, I have spoken about how courses are a great way to diversify your business and increase your income streams. I think it is a brilliant option for you to have within your business, especially if you are a small business owner who can't necessarily multiply themselves to get more time in the day. A course can be something that can be selling in the background whilst you are doing other things. So I think it's a really useful thing. But a lot of people get hung up on that idea of the time that it's going to take to produce a course. Well, just like I said, how ChatGPT actually saves me loads of time around my podcast, from creating the scripts to doing the show notes for me. Literally, I record and edit, and everything else is done by AI at this point. You can get AI to help you with your course content. So if you are interested in finding out how AI can help you create a course then I want you to go and grab Amy's free resource. It is linked in the show notes, but if you are not in a place where you can get to those easily, you can go to donnaeade.com, that's donnaeade.com/Amy-AI-guide. I hope you grab that download. I hope you give ChatGPT a go. How might you use it in your business? Come over to social, follow me on Instagram, Donna_Eade_, and let me know how you use AI in your business currently, if you do. If you don't, how might you use it in your business? Grab that free download from Amy in the show notes, donnaeade.com/Amy-AI-guide, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now. Don't forget to hit those stars and leave a review of the podcast where you listen if you found value in what you heard today. It's a free way you can help the podcast reach more people just like you.